The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
Wrestling to the Max 205 Live. I don't know. I don't have access to the theme song. I'm just playing what springs into my head. Whatever. That was out loud, wasn't it?
What?
The do.
Yes.
Could have been worse. I could have sang like one of the Super Mario themes. Okay, anyway. That is not what you're listening to this for. You were listening to this for the Wrestling to the Max 205 Live review here for Tuesday, July 24th, 2018. Good evening, afternoon, whenever you're listening to this, everybody. I am your host. My name is Harry Broadhurst. I clearly don't have a clue what I'm doing. Unfortunately, the co-hostess with the mostest, Miss Liz Puglisi, had a family emergency and is unable to join us. But joining me instead is the minor 49er to my Scooby-Doo, Brandon Biskobing.
Oh, God. Why do I have to be a ghost?
No, if Scooby-Doo taught us anything, it's that the worst bad guys are just real humans in bad masks.
Very true.
I'm just saying. Valuable life lessons learned from Scooby-Doo, everybody.
Have you ever seen the, I don't know if you watch this show, but the Supernatural Scooby-Doo thing where the ghosts were actually real?
I did. I watched with Christine, because Christine's a huge Supernatural fan, and she made me promise that when Scooby-Doo appeared on Supernatural, I would watch the episode with her. And I did. And, yeah, I did appreciate the fact that, okay, it's been long enough since the show aired, I can say this. I did appreciate the fact that Dean and Sam were nice enough not to smarten the gang up.
Yeah. It was still fun. It was still funny how they used the first ever episode of Scooby-Doo, Where Are You, as the impetus for the show.
The only thing I have to say to this is if they would have told them that the ghosts were real, then I feel like Shaggy would have been like, Zoinks! And Scooby-Doo would have been like, Ruh-roh, rhyme to get out of here.
Well done.
Thank you. I thought so as well. All right. That's also not why you're here, even though we could probably do an entire podcast on Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, we probably could.
I've watched enough of the movies, the cartoon episodes, and the DVDs and all that other stuff in order to be. I played all the video games. You know, I still have Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase for my PlayStation 2.
I've only played one of the video games, and it was a computer video game.
What was it called? Do you remember?
I don't remember. It was like a weird side scroller.
Maybe it was Cyber Chase, because that one was fun, actually. I enjoyed that. All right. Again, not while you're here. Sorry.
We're just way off topic today, aren't we?
To be fair, though, 205 Live takes us like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So I can get away with this stuff on the 205 Live review, which is brought to you by the W2M Network in association with W2Mnet.com. We are a presentation of W2Mnet.com, your place to find everything you need to know in the worlds of sports, video games, professional wrestling, soccer, entertainment, and so much more. Make sure you visit W2Mnet.com. See, I brought it full circle.
Well done.
I thought so, too. All right, so tonight's episode of 205 Live, we technically, I guess, kind of sort of crown a number one contender to Cedric Alexander's cruiserweight title. I mean, in name, if not necessarily in location. We find out who the next person in line for the title shot will be, just not when they'll get the title shot. But
I would assume it would be SummerSlam.
Or maybe the 205 Live before SummerSlam.
They seem to be doing the Cruiserweight Championship matches on at least the big four pay-per-views.
That's fair. They're probably going to have it there with on the pre-show like it was for WrestleMania.
Yep,
I thought
exactly.
I thought Mustafa and Cedric on the pre-show at Mania was one of the better matches of the show this year.
Mm-hmm.
Much the same way Neville and Aries on the pre-show of last year's SummerSlam was one of the better matches on the show.
Yep.
But for tonight, our opening contest, scheduled for one fall, is Akira Tozawa looking to rebound from his loss to Lio Rush last week as he takes on the gentleman Jack Gallagher, who hasn't wrestled a singles match on 205 Live in probably 6 months. Well, maybe Gallagher should stick to tag team matches because this one doesn't go so well for him. Akira Tozawa picks up the win with the Dick Togo senton. I'm being told I can't say Dick Togo at 7 minutes and 22 seconds.
Now you're going to do that one too?
Yes, 100%. If there's one thing you'll notice on this show, Brandon, it's that I'm full of shtick.
Yes.
Your thoughts on Gallagher and Tozawa?
I mean, it was nice seeing Gallagher back. But yeah, Tozawa, this was kind of his way of getting some momentum back after losing to Leo last week, so.
Speaking of which, though, post-match, Tozawa goes up to Drake Maverick, who's sitting over at commentary with Percy Watson, Nigel McGuinness, and a guy whose name I never remember, Vic Joseph. And we find out that Tozawa is asking for a rematch with Lio Rush next week on 205 Live. Maverick says that he will consider it, but does not make an announcement one way or another, and then we proceed to go back to our first of 4 interviews with the people in tonight's main event, as TJP talks about the fact that he will outclass all of the loser weights because he's finally where he belongs on 205 Live in the main event and about to challenge for the cruiserweight title. Right after that, we see Hideo Itami shadowboxing and promising to win tonight and then go on and finish the job that he started with Cedric Alexander 2 weeks ago. Nothing?
Well, in terms of the Lio Rush Tozawa thing, I'm definitely looking forward to that match if they do it again, which I'm sure they will. Which it'll probably be Tozawa winning just to have a best 2 out of 3 match thing where, Leo gets the third win to, take the series pretty much. And then in terms of, the promos, it was pretty much what you expect from both of these guys.
See, I'm not so sure that Leo's going to lose to Akira the next time they face here. I think Leo's somebody that they kind of want to skyrocket to the top of the division.
That's true.
And having him go 50-50 with Akira Tozawa is not going to help do that.
True.
Our next contest, scheduled for one fall.
One fall.
Are Lince Dorado and Kalisto taking on Doesn't Matter and Doesn't Care. I don't think they ever actually...
No, I don't think they actually gave any names. It's basically just Jobber 1 and Jobber 2.
And jobbers they were at 2 minutes and 10 seconds when Kalisto pins, we'll call him Johnny Boots and Tights, with Salida Del Sol. Although, I will say this much, Lince might want to be careful. His Tope Con Hilo almost in the Tope Con Hospital, because he did not get over very far on that dive. That almost ended very, very, very badly.
Yeah.
And for those who have followed the career of Lince, you know that he... very bad.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that would have been bad if he if he hadn't kind of maneuvered himself midair to make sure that nothing too serious happened. But yeah, that was not the best spot in the world.
It is now more promo time for the main event as we get words from Drew Gulak saying that he is going to tap somebody in tonight's main event. Mustafa Ali then talks about how he just has to survive rib-breaking kicks from Hideo Itami, vicious chokeholds from Drew Gulak, and what was the word that he used to describe the knee bar? Having his ankle broken by TJP's knee bar, something like that, I think it was. It was along those lines, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, something like that.
But anyway, so those are the 4 promos going into tonight's main event. Dasha Fuente catches up with Lio Rush backstage to kind of comment on the Akira Tozawa rematch. He says that he's already beaten Tozawa, that Leo's in a league of his own, and that Tozawa should keep Leo's name out of his mouth. See, that's that cocky arrogance heel thing that they're going for with Leo, and I think it works with him just because he comes off like an absolute douchebag.
Mm-hmm.
But in the best way possible, if
yes.
that makes sense. As long as he's not making cracks about Emma getting fired.
Yes.
Seriously, man. Professionalism, it goes a long way. Not that I would know anything about that. I'm just a podcast schmuck. But it goes a long way. All right. Our main event, scheduled for one fall.
One fall.
Is the four-way number one contenders match for the Cruiserweight Championship as TJP takes on Hideo Itami, Mustafa Ali, and Drew Gulak. By the way, Mustafa Ali, why you Power Ranger? Thought that was Seth Rollins' deal. I mean, he takes it a step further with the light-up gear and stuff, but I feel like that would be a bitch to upkeep, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That has to break during the course of a match, does it not?
Yeah, you would think.
Anywho, the match itself sees a lot of back and forth action and picks up around the midway point because the first half of this match was surprisingly slow.
Mm-hmm.
It picks up around the midway point, and at the end of the match, we see Hideo Itami pulling out Mustafa Ali after he hits TJP with the 054. Itami sends Mustafa Ali into the ring post after drop kicking him up against the ring steps. However, before Itami can capitalize, Drew Gulak sends Hideo Itami into the ring post and then proceeds to put Mustafa Ali in the Gulag for the chokeout victory. It was referee stoppage at 14 minutes and 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Real quick before you speak, allow me to do this in Liz's place. Yay,
okay.
Gulak won! Okay. Now go ahead and give me your thoughts, Brandon.
Yeah, I'm definitely glad to see Gulak winning. But yeah, like you said, started off kind of slow, but it definitely picked up towards the end, and it was a good match, especially at the end.
The problem was, though, is that it took a while for it to get out of that first gear. When you have four of these caliber athletes in the ring, you expect maybe more balls Mahoney to the wall early. Do you like the fact that they had the slow pace to start this match, or do you think that something was missing from this match because of it?
I mean, on one hand, I think what you say is true, that they especially with the four of these guys, like these four, that they're gonna have that crazy pace. But at the same time, especially with each of their characters now, if you really think about it, 3 of the 4 are more ground-based, more slower, slug-it-out type of guys. The only one that's really a high flyer, fast-paced guy in this match is Mustafa.
That being said, though, Itami and Gulak, when they were trading strikes, were just beating the absolute dog crap out of each other. That was fun to watch.
Oh, yes.
I mean, disconcerting at the same time because you're like, don't do that with your forehead, ow. But still fun to watch.
Yes.
In the end, Drew Gulak stands tall and is congratulated by his fellow gentlemen in Brian Kendrick and the not-so-hug-wanting Jack Gallagher. I thought that was funny. As we go off the air when Gulak is celebrating his victory. Do you think they're kind of teasing a separation from Gulak from not from Itami, from Kendrick and Gallagher?
Maybe a little bit, but I don't know. It would be interesting to see a face Gulak. I don't know how that will work, though.
He chokes out the bad guys instead of the good guys. It's pretty simple.
True.
Scale of 1 to 10, Brandon, where do you fall?
I'll give it a 7. It was a decent show. The match with Tozawa gave him some momentum back, and sets up for another potential match against Leo. The Lucha House Party gets some momentum back by beating up on jobbers, and then the Fatal 4-Way match, while slow starting, was still a very good match, and it was nice to see Gulak finally get into the main event picture.
6.5. Just slightly lower than you are for this episode here. I enjoyed Akira Tozawa and Gallagher, but I never really felt like Gallagher had a chance to win.
Yeah.
The squash match was what it was. It was there because Tony Nese couldn't make it to this week's episode of 205 Live because it was originally announced as Tony Nese versus Kalisto.
Mm.
So I feel like that would have been much more entertaining than seeing Lindsay and Kalisto beating up Jobberella and Jobberina. And then the main event, while it eventually worked its way to balls to the Mahoney to the wall action, it took a little bit longer to get there than I thought it would. So I don't think it was quite as good as the levels of main events that we've been seeing recently on 205. Compare this match, and I get where you're coming from as far as their style of wrestling, but compare this match to the three-way that we had a couple of weeks ago between Mustafa Ali, Buddy Murphy, and Hideo Itami, and it's a night and day difference in my opinion, despite two of the participants being the same.
True.
One-word review, Brandon.
I'm gonna say solid. You know, it definitely wasn't the greatest 205 Live ever, but, you know, it was a good, solid show that moved a couple of things forward and got us a new number one contender.
I'm going to use one word and three numbers because I'm kind of cheating here.
Okay.
Better 205. It's about time Drew Gulak gets his opportunity to stand in the main event of 205 Live.
Mm-hmm.
That dude has been carrying this brand with little recognition since the inception of the brand. Be it in the stuff that he was doing early with the PowerPoint presentations, be it in the way that he was carrying the Zoe train, because God knows Enzo Amore wasn't. And be it everything that he's done with his now almost borderline psychotic character that he's doing these days on 205 Live, that when you step to him, you will tap out.
I hope that, I know that 205 is much more pure in-ring based now, but I would love, if he does end up winning the title, I would love for him to basically kind of go like what Neville was doing with the whole King of the Cruiserweights, but he doesn't necessarily have to call himself King of the Cruiserweights, but like have him try to implement by force because of him being the top dog, him trying to implement some of his old rules for a better 205.
Cedric Alexander, be afraid.
Yes.
Afraid. That officially wraps us up for this episode of 205 Live, Brandon. Let's do some plugs since we didn't do them on SmackDown tonight.
Okay.
Go ahead. You can go first.
Well, we were not able to do one for this week, but hopefully next week we will have Raw back. I gave my quick thoughts on Raw on the SmackDown Live review, so if you want to hear those, tune into that. We've got NXT this week on Thursday, and then the kickoff will be returning soon. And so will Fantasy Football to the Max. Will also be returning in August.
We actually have a date for the kickoff, Brandon.
Oh, yes. What is it? Not this upcoming Wednesday, but the Wednesday after?
August 9th will be our college football preview. August 16th.
August 9th? Isn't that a Thursday?
It's a Tuesday.
No,
or it's a Wednesday.
No, it's not.
Okay, then it's August. Crap, I've been given the wrong date.
Yeah, it's August 8th.
Son of a bitch. Okay, well, August 8th is the return of the kickoff. The 15th and the 22nd will be the AFC and the NFC, and then the 29th of August will be our postseason predictions and our year-end awards. In addition, as Brandon said, Fantasy Football to the Max comes back during August as well. Dates and time to be determined. We're getting closer and closer, Brandon, to how the war was won.
Yep.
I am up to February 19th, 1995, Super Brawl 95. The show is taking forever because it is god-awful. But that's where I'm at. Once I get past Super Brawl, I'm on my way to WrestleMania 11. As we get further past WrestleMania 11, it is July 16th for In Your House 2, The Lumberjacks. July 23rd for WCW's Bash at the Beach 1995. We make our way towards the launch of the Monday Night War by setting the table with the 4 biggest shows right before it, 2 on each side. In Your House and SummerSlam on the WWF side, Bash at the Beach and Clash of the Champions on WCW's. Anything else to plug before we get out of here, or is that about it for us?
I think that's it.
Spotify is here.
Yes.
Glacier is not, though. We're working on that. Well, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Podbean, CastBox, YouTube. You can listen to the W2M Network family of shows in any number of different places. And you can find them online at W2Mnet.com. For Minor 49er, I'm Scooby-Doo, thanking you for listening to the Wrestling to the Max 205 Live Report for 2018, July 24. Go with it. Why not? Thanks for listening, everybody. They'll see you next week. I'll be back in 2. Deuces.